To shape destiny is within all of us. With Upwell, you can shape the universe. Unlocking the potential of the stars and planets you call home has been the unwavering focus of our finest minds. And now, we stand on the cusp of a new era. Introducing Equinox. An unrivaled suite of solutions for a new age of colonization. Revolutionary structures that offer unprecedented system-wide control, all operated and maintained by an efficient and skilled workforce. Embrace the freedom to shape space in your image and seize the dream of a star system entirely under your command. Equinox from Upwell.
Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. I am CCPB and next to me is CCP Kestrel. Hello.
Hello, nice to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
You guys are tuning into the second In Focus stream where we're going to be talking about the new ships coming in the Equinox expansion on June 11th. Are you ready to go talk about spaceships and showcase the Squall, Deluge, Torrent, and Avalanche?
Oh yeah, I'm always ready to talk about spaceships.
Exactly. Let's undock here. We're actually in the middle of nowhere on a test server, and we're going to do what we did last couple of kind of expansions. We're going to go around, show you them in space, talk about their stats, talk about their kind of stats layouts, their fitting, and all that stuff. Let me get moved over to the first place. To the Squall. I see we're still on there. Can we get moved over? There we go. This is the Squall. Can you talk to us about this ship? First of all, what is it for?
Yeah, so the Squall is the sort of entry-level hauler that we have for this set. So it'll have an infrastructure bay, which all of them will have, and in that infrastructure bay you can put in the new reagents.
Yes.
Which are required for some sort of upgrades for the expansion. You can also put planetary interaction materials in there. You can put fuel blocks in there, and every Upwell structure, as well as SOV structures, SOV upgrades, etc. Basically anything for upgrading space in NoSec, as well as just, I want to put up an Athanor in LowSec, then you can put everything in there that you need to be able to set up that Athanor.
This is the first one out of this is kind of the entry level one, right? So if we stack this up against other ships in kind of its category, would you say that these are on the same level as like kind of the Badger and the Nereus, and in that kind of they're like the tier 1 hauler, right?
Yeah, so these are a little more powerful. I'd say it's probably best to think of it kind of like a Navy hauler.
Okay.
It is a lot more expensive than the basic Tech 1 Industrials. So the basic Tech 1 Industrials right now, they around 2 to 3 million ISK to build on TQ. This will be around 20 million ISK at our current estimations. The materials that you need to build it are the same as a Badger. Oh, sorry, same as a Moa,
Okay.
for example, with some added like PI materials required on top. So there'll be around 20 to 25 million roughly.
So people can expect them to roughly cost as much as a T1 cruiser-ish.
Yes. So T1 cruisers have a bit more slots than them, and like more weapons and stuff. So when you fully fit a Tech 2, a cruiser with Tech 2 modules and such, like a Squall with Tech 2 modules will be about the same price.
So let's talk actually about that, because out of all the haulers, everyone's heard of the Battle Badger and the Nereus. I myself am a big Nereus enjoyer. I think I'm still in the top 100 of Nereus killers on Zkill. I remember enjoying that ship a lot before nullification changed a lot of gate camping. But this thing here is going to have a lot more bite and different. Can you tell us what sets this apart to the Nereus, for example?
Yeah, so this one has had a bit of love from the Mortis Legion, as they're part of the Upwell Consortium, and they've actually gave it like pretty decent missile damage bonuses. And so this can put out about the same level of damage as the Caracal and the Bellicose can with their missiles. So it's got about the same firepower as those.
And I think the design intent behind this, so you said this is going to be able to do all of the kind of hauling and the kind of need to upkeep your sub area, but they're also going to hopefully be used in raiding skyhooks. Can you talk to us first about, for those who might have missed it last week, what are skyhooks that are coming in the expansion?
So skyhooks are a new structure that's coming, and they'll only be able to be placed in Sov Null. And there are new resources in NullSec. So there's workforce, which is used to power upgrades. There's power or energy as well, which is used to also power Sov upgrades. And there's also reagents, which are consumables that come from ice and lava planets, and they're also used to power specific upgrades.
And these are going to be on planets, and they're going to have a similar type of heist mechanic as ESSs have. And I believe one of the design philosophies behind this ship and this whole line of ships is that you didn't want what happens with ESSs right now, where people bring along an alt that just kind of goes robbing the ESS. No one cares about it. You just kind of let it do its thing, and then you focus on your main account. With this, you're hoping that people, maybe with this or the other Tech 2 versions, that they use them on their main. Is that correct?
Yeah, like we really wanted to make a ship that can haul, that doesn't feel like it's just a task for an alt.
Yeah.
So like if you wanted to raid skyhooks, and let's say me and you wanted to go together, one of us needs to fly a hauler to get some stuff out of it. We wanted it to feel like you can still contribute and feel like you can play a role in gangs. So for example, if I was flying a Caracal and you were flying the Squall,
yeah,
like we both have a similar level of power. Obviously, the valuable goods are inside you, so you're probably going to be a bigger target.
And I think the Caracal is also quite a bit faster, more mobile, and all those things. Let's actually hop into the ship since we have it right here. And let's look at the slot layout of that. Let's look at the bonuses. Let's look at all these things. Have a little bit of a talk about them. We're going to show info. That is not the right ship. I wanted to show info on the ship that I'm actually in. We're going to open up a couple of tabs. For those of you who don't know, you can open several tabs if you just hold shift. I'm going to open another one and show info here. We're going to have this one on fitting maybe. And then we're going to have show info on attributes. So first of all, this, you said it has a flat missile bonus damage. It's not getting any kind of range or projection range. It's just flat out damage. And with this, you said it would be about the same damage as a cruiser, right?
Yeah, so this is a 20% damage per level. It has 3 launchers, so that means it has 6 effective launchers. The Caracal has 6.66 effective launchers because it has 5 of a rate of fire bonus.
Yeah.
And the Bellicose right now has 5.33, I think, but it has like a pretty big drone bay. So this is doing about the same kind of missile firepower that you would expect from like a Caracal or a Bellicose.
As you can tell here with Navy missiles, I'm currently doing about 268. The range is about 42, which is kind of normal now for rapid lights. Thankfully, they were pulled back on certain hulls. And it's nothing to scoff at, like EHP wise. The resist profile in this ship, it seems to have just a higher native kinetic and explosive. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they actually have the same resistance profile as the Edencom ships do. Those were also produced by Upwell.
Yeah. So it's going to have slightly lower EM and thermal resists. But this T1 version here, it's up there in decent resists. It's an exciting ship. I'm most excited for the Torrent, but this one is definitely a strong second for me from what I've seen so far. Let's talk about another thing that I know people have been thinking about. How much can these haul? How big is the cargo hold, and all those things. Let's dive into that for a second.
Yeah, so these ships have a slightly smaller cargo hold than the version that's kind of similar to them. So the Squall, for example, has, if you had a max skilled Badger and then you had a max skilled Squall, it has about half the cargo bay because it has the infrastructure holds.
Yeah. And this thing's an infrastructure hold of 67,500 cubic meters.
Yeah, that's with max skills. With the new skill you need to fly it, which is Upwell. It's called Upwell Hauler.
Could actually open that up as well. Look at the requirements.
Yeah, and
it's just Upwell Hauler itself. Yeah.
Yep, and it's very easy to train. You can train it straight away because I think every character starts out with Spaceship Command level 3.
Yes.
The only requirement is that this is an Amiga only skill.
Yes, so you're not going to be flying any of these Upwell haulers unless you're Omega.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit different. I believe you can fly, you said the Apethol, for example, without...
Yeah, you can fly. Yeah, you can fly the Apethol as an alpha. You can't do PI as an alpha, but you could, for example, maybe trade PI goods or move them around and try to make money that way.
Yeah. It's just admired for a second. I like the engine, especially when you hop into one of these in a Citadel. And the engine's going to kick on because it's such an aggressive engine slot layout on the back, the way it looks.
Yeah, it's such a cool ship.
Let's warp this thing over to the Deluge. And let me see, Control F9. We're going to talk about how this differs to the bigger brother, so to speak, the cloaky version of this. We hop over to the Deluge now.
Yeah, and on to the previous question you asked me about the size of the bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one has a base value of 45,000, so which is actually the same as the Epithal right now. So it can haul the same amount as the Epithal, but this is obviously about 10 times the cost of the Epithal.
Yes,
so,
because you said it cost about about a T1 cruiser price. You said.
Yeah, a bit more than a T1 cruiser, but fitted about the same. Yeah.
I like it. We're going to be landing now on grid with a few other ships. In this category, we have the Deluge, which is going up against the Crane, against the Pro-Raider, the Prowler, and the Viator. Now, these are the ones that people have gotten used to over the years as the cloaky haulers. Can you talk a bit about what sets this apart? Once you get up to a cloaky hauler, what can that do that a Tech 1 can't?
Yeah, so the blockade runners, first of all, they're immune to cargo scanners.
Mm-hmm.
So you can maybe try and haul some valuable goods like blueprints, although some people do the tornado roulette on the General Undock, so it might not completely save you. They also can use covered ops cloaks, like you mentioned. They can also fit covered ops sinos as well for like getting things behind enemy lines. They can also be bridged too, which is also...
So they have a lot more utility than a Tech 1 version because you can move them around a lot safer, and you can obviously bridge them with either Black Ops battleships, and they're actually my favorite way of hauling. I'm a big Viator fan, being able to move things around when I need to.
Yeah, they also warp super fast too. If you have max skills like transport ships level 5, it actually has the same warp speed as an interceptor. So,
when it comes to PvP capabilities, does this hold the same as the Squall? Is it able to?
So it is a little bit. Yeah, it is a little bit weaker than the Squall. It has a slightly smaller missile damage bonus.
Yeah.
Has 15% damage per level instead of 20%.
Yeah.
Which is kind of similar to, like the Rapier versus, like the Cloaky Mimitar Recon versus like a Caracal.
Yes. But it is speedier.
Yes, this one is actually really fast. It's actually slightly faster than the Prowler in terms of max speed.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is this actually has the worst agility of all of the blockade runners. So it's slightly less agile than the Crane, which is the least agile one right now.
Let me see, did I hop into it already? I think I did. Look at own ship. In a couple of the tests, I know you guys do all kinds of tests. I remember in one of them, I fit this up with the intent of going as fast as I could with it, with high-grade snakes and the whole shebang. And I think it could be interesting to have one of these on grid, cloaked, waiting, right? As maybe a robbery is happening. And if this is the main ship you're flying, someone else is maybe cycling up on the skyhook. Your reason to be there in this ship is to pick up everything and be the guy holding it. Yeah. But being able to decloak and go, I mean, this is with no implants, nothing at all. As it stands, it's 2,300. That's nothing to scoff at. That's a decently fast ship. Overheated, this thing's going to be breaking 3K, 3.3. And obviously, if you add snakes and drugs and all kinds of things onto this, this thing can zoom. It has the same amount of range. It's 42 kilometers with rapids, but what do you envision people fitting missile best? Do you think people will stick with rapid missiles, rapid lights, or do you think they'll use heavy missiles or hams?
You can actually use any missile type you like, and even rockets or just regular light missiles if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
If you wanted to fit like a bigger tank, like
True.
you can get like an extra large shield extender on, or
Maybe you know something we don't. Do you think rockets are going to be the way?
you know, look, listen, rocket Kestrel is the best Kestrel, and so I'm going to be flying a rocket squall.
Rocket School. It has that just innate bonus to missile damage, right?
Yeah.
So it bonuses any missiles you fit onto it. It also has the warp speed, warp acceleration, and I know that chat probably wants to know most of all, even though they want to know about the fitting of it and they want to know attributes, they probably want to know about the cargo hold. How much does this haul compared to the Squall?
So this holds 4,000 meters cubed base, and it doesn't have a bonus to increase it like the Crane or any of the other blockade runners.
Yeah.
And so it'll hold about half or a bit less than that, a bit more than that, sorry, of like what the other blockade runners have if they were in max cargo fits. But it is the only blockade runner with like a specialized hold, and it has an infrastructure hold. It is smaller than the Squall's one.
Yeah.
It's 30,000 meters cubed base instead of 45,000 on the Squall. So, but it's still enough for you to maybe put like an Athanor in there and the stuff you need from the Athanor and maybe a week's worth of fuel or something like that.
But it being cloaky means it has a little bit. It has to have some kind of, some. It can't be better than the Squall in everything, right? It has the same. No, it doesn't have the same damage profile, does it? Because it's a Tech 2 version.
Yeah, so these, the Tech 2 version, the Torrent and the Deluge, they have anti-Triglavian resistances, and the Triglavian gun does primarily thermal with some explosive.
Yeah.
And so they have basically 75% extra thermal resistances and 50% extra explosive on shield and armor.
So it actually has a very high native resist against that. So if you plug the other ones for a cloaky hauler at 54k, this is fairly tanky too. Once you decloak and you want to start shooting at whatever's stopping you from robbing the skyhook, then I think this could actually hold its own quite well. We're gonna move on from this one to the what is basically my favorite of all of these, the Torrent. Now let's go over to the Torrent. What sets the Torrent apart from the Deluge? Because they're both Tech 2.
So the Torrent is very similar to the other deep space transports versus the blockade runners. So for example, the Orcator versus the Viator. The Viator is obviously way faster than the Orcator is. And the Orcator can't fit a Code Ops cloak, and it has like way worse agility, etc. But it does get a really big fleet hangar, and it does get high resistances and high hit points, and the Torrent is very similar. So it has a bigger infrastructure hold. It also does have a fleet hangar like other deep space transports, but it's quite a bit smaller than the other deep space transports because we don't want it to like obsolete them.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's open up all the stats before I hop in it so it doesn't overwrite with my own skills in there too. Show info, and show info. Probably should have done this with the other ones when I was looking at it. We can see traits, fitting, and attributes a lot easier. It doesn't have my own fits on there as well. One thing this also does is it's able to fit MJDs, right?
Yep, it can fit micro jump drives, and all of these can fit any class modules that any of the other ships could.
Yeah.
So the Torrent, for example, can fit an interdiction nullifier like every other deep space transport.
Yeah. You could be nullified and MJD. It's kind of hard to hold these things down. These things also have the built-in warp core strength. But what sets this one apart, for example, to the Mastodon and the Bustard, is there's just sheer tank on this thing. If we look at this fit that I currently have on, without simulating it, you said it has the base resists against Triglavian, so it has the thermal and explosive. But this thing becomes pretty tanky here when it's got everything on. And it also has that overheat bonus, right?
I think you actually still have the Deluge up there.
Oh, I'm still in the... Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Should be higher. Hop back into this. Thank you. That looks a lot more like it.
yeah. So it has a shield resistance bonus like the Bustard and the Mastodon.
Which then actually increases how much... So the Occutter has a bonus to, like, active tank, really?
Yeah.
Whereas this thing just becomes incredibly tanky once you overheat. I'm not sure. Do you think this might be maybe a little overtuned with the current stats, or do you think this seems very strong?
Yeah, the Tauren is pretty strong. I know the CSM have like brought this up a little bit, especially if you don't fit like any like launchers in the high slots. You can just like go like triple large shield extender or something. It's definitely something that we're gonna keep an eye on.
One thing that you guys pulled back from recently was you I think you made some of its cargo hold a little bit smaller, so you couldn't fit certain things in there. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So in the when it was showed off, I think a week ago in the little preview
in the video that we had,
it had a lot bigger infrastructure hold than it has now. So right now it has an infrastructure hold with max skills with 90,000s. A lot of that was part of the feedback from players and from the CSM, mostly because the XL quantum cores for the Keepstar and the Satoyu, they're 95,000 meters cubed.
And you didn't want someone showing up with an interdiction nullified ship, scooping up a
Keepstar core,
Keepstar core, and then just MJDing out, right?
Yeah, that would be a bit too broken. And also it means that you won't be able to like set up a Keepstar in a class 1 wormhole.
No.
Which might be pretty hard to siege. Since you can the only battleship you can get in a class 1 is a Nesta, unless you build them in
you'd have to go in and live there for many months and pump out ships. Out of all three of these, which one is your favorite?
I actually really like the school personally, just because like it's the kind of ship that I think I would fight quite a lot as a solo PvPer.
Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely my in strong second for me. I just think that the Torrent's going to see so much use as, like, let's say there's a battleship gang fighting another one. This could be sitting there on grid with cap boosters, and it could be a really tough little nut to crack to stop this mobile cap booster thing next to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it won't be able to hold as many cap boosters as the other deep space transports, because the fleet hangar on this is about half the size of the regular ones. But you could still hold, like, a pretty sizable amount of cap boosters for them.
Yes. I think this could also be a really fun way to go out and do like a salvager / fighter thing where you go in and fight people, because it actually has enough bite. I've been flying Macedons a little bit recently just to meme around with a salvager and just follow fights around and be tanky. This could actually do it and hit back, right? This does more damage than the Deluge, does it not?
Yeah, so this one has a slightly higher damage bonus. This has 25% per level instead of 15% per level in the Deluge, and the score is 20%. So
this is the highest DPS of the three.
Of the free haulers, yeah.
This thing's going to be an absolute blast.
It also has a pretty hidden extra bonus too.
Go on.
A little smaller. It actually has a bonus to overheating energy neutralizers and Nosferatu as well.
True.
Regular deep space transports don't get that.
Yeah.
This one has that, so you can maybe, if you wanted to fit
a hauling curse.
I mean, it's not as strong as a curse because you don't have the range and you don't have quite as much neuting power. But if you wanted to fit like a small newt and try and like newt off someone who's tackling you or something, then this is
neat.
Pretty nice bonus.
I like it. It actually had escaped me when I was looking at them. The next thing we're going to be looking at is the big one, the Avalanche. Let's close all these tabs and let's talk a little bit about the Avalanche and what sets it apart from other freighters, because it's a big boy, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's the only freighter in the game that has high slots.
Yes. That's actually going to set it apart from other freighters in a couple of different ways. But you cannot, I believe, put a cloak on it.
No, so you can't fit a cloak on it.
No.
That would be a bit too overpowered.
It would be maybe a little bit crazy if you could do the cloak micro death trick with it.
Yeah. It would also look really ugly if it was like,
Yeah.
moving at a 90-degree angle.
True. But when it comes to the Avalanche compared to other freighters, this one actually has a whole lot of bite, right?
Yeah, so it has a missile damage bonus like these other three.
Yeah.
And it has enough missile firepower to match most battleships. So this actually has the same damage bonus as a Barghest. It doesn't have the range of a Barghest, but it does the same damage with a Barghest, and it has even more damage if you use auto-targeting missiles, and this actually does more damage than a golem in Bastion if you use auto targeting missiles on it.
We're going to talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
auto-targeting missiles in a second. But let's just first of all appreciate its just the way it looks, because I think it looks real cool. Every time I see it, I think of that old song of X gon' give it to you. And if it's warping sideways, it's a big plus too, right?
Yeah.
It's a really cool looking ship. People with a 3D mouse are going to enjoy the fact that you can actually go into this tube and go all the way through the middle part. And it looks really cool. They've like thought about people with 3D mice to make it look extra cool here. We're going to hop into this. And we're going to look at the stats and the layout and what this thing can do. Let's start off the other end this time. Let's start off with the cargo hold. How much this can haul. How does it stack up against the other freighters?
So very similar to like the design of the other ones. This one has about half the size of the regular cargo container.
Yeah.
So this has about right now this is half. I think it's half the size of like a Sharon, the Cardari freighter at level 5. So it won't be able to hold as much regular modules or ships as the other freighters do.
No.
But it does have a super huge infrastructure hold, which is the biggest hold in the game.
Yes.
3 million
It's a
M3.
sizable hold that it can carry there. Let's look at the actual bonuses that it has. You said it had a very strong bonus just to missile damage itself, but it's specifically one that is here to auto targeting missile, which is twice the amount.
Yeah, and that actually stacks with the top bonus there as well. So it has 9 effective launches with regular missiles, which is the same as the Bargus, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
But with auto targeting missiles, it's 18 times effective.
That's it's gonna hit really, really hard. It has another bonus, which is kind of interesting. Can you tell us what a Capital Flex Shield Hardener is?
Yeah, so the Capital Flex Shield Hardener is a module. It's a capital only module, at least until now. Well, the Avalanche is still kind of a capital, but
Yeah.
it's essentially like it's a shield hardener that you can script to like a specific resistance type if you want.
So you can put a script in, you can be like, hey, I would rather defend against this specific damage type.
Yeah, so if you were in high sec, for example, you jump in and you see 20 catalysts on the other side, you might want to load kinetic in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe try and close the thermal hull, because it has the same kind of bonus resist, the resist profile as the Edencom ship.
Yeah.
So it has a native 30, 30, 57, 57 here. If we turn this on, without anything scripted, this thing is going to be about 460,000 HP. Of course, all of this could change. But if we slap in one of these, let's say just the EM one, that's going to push that EM resist up to 78, which is really cool to be able to, on the fly, go, oh, this might look like it's going to gank me. Let's actually put the resist in for that. There is one more thing we're going to do, which is going to warp this thing around because it looks so cool. Let's close this thing here. Let's move over to the one end gate here. Click, 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 and click. I think it's such a cool ship. With a prop mod on, we were trying this actually to see if we could get it into warp with one cycle of a prop mod.
I think it's 2 cycles.
Yeah, if you overheat it. So CCP Swift said you have to fit an X type because it's shaped as an X. I'm gonna try and stop it completely here. It's not gonna be completely stopped, but I'm gonna do an overheated cycle of the prop mod. It's not gonna be a one cycle type thing. But maybe if you abyssal a couple of prop mods and get a really good one, who knows? Maybe you can.
Yeah, you could also maybe take the ballistic control systems out.
You need the damage on there, obviously. Yeah. But you could obviously fit inertials on this, and
yeah. So if you only have one account and you don't have a webbing ult like a rapier, then you can maybe solo move around with this.
Let me see. It's a really cool looking ship. While we're actually here, let's talk about the auto-targeting missiles, because there is one thing in my hold here that people may not have seen.
People would like to look at the attributes.
They would like to see the attributes as well.
Yeah, and they'd also like you to go over what things can go into the infrastructure.
That's a good point. Let's cover both of those. Thank you, Mr. Conway. Let's open up the traits on this. Let's also open up the cargo hold. Let's open up show info. And go over to the attributes. Let's go over the fitting on it. Let's go through them just bit by bit. Let's talk about the bonuses first of all. Can we cover them?
Yeah, we kind of covered them, but we can go over them again. So it gets 10% bonus to missile damage as its base. It has 6 launchers, so it has 9 effective launchers if you use whatever.
The auto targeting we covered before.
Yep.
It can't use a cloaking device, like you said. It's the only freighter to have a high slot, but you can't cloak with it. If we look at the slot layout of it, it has 6 high slots. It has 3 mid slots, 3 low slots. And then attribute-wise, if I just slowly pan down, people can take the screenshots they need of things that they care about the most. This is obviously with me in the ship.
And for the, I guess what people probably people probably care about is maybe the lock speed on it and how many targets it can have.
Yes.
The lock speed for it is like a bit worse than like I think like a Raven or the worst battleship that we had. So it's between Dreads and battleships.
It's fairly slow at locking things.
But that's why you have auto targeting missiles.
That's why you have auto targeting missiles. It also warps quite slowly.
Yeah, same as regular freighter for that. And it's.
Can we see the requirements as well?
Yes.
Can they take can you put cyanodes on them? There's coming up Twitch.
Lots of questions coming up in Twitch. No, it's good. Thank you. Let's start at the requirements for them so people can see actually what they need to fly them.
Yeah, so to fly them you need Upwell Freighter, which is a new skill. And to train that, you just need Upwell Hauler to level 3.
Yeah. And this is going to come in the Equinox expansion. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, both of those skills are coming in the Equinox expansion. And for the cost of the skill, it's the same as like a regular freighter. So like Minotaur Freighter, I think it's around 70 to 90 million. I don't remember the exact number, but something like that. It's not like super expensive for the skill.
Yeah. What about high slot?
And now show the materials. Show the blueprint.
Now let's see the blueprint. They want to see everything. Let's show that as well.
Just click on all of the tabs.
Just have everything. I need more screens here.
I'm sure the Lord nerds also want you to click on the description too.
Yeah. Mastery and skins and let's go for this so we can see this. Convict Dask, can it fit a Sino in the high slots?
No, it can't fit a Sino. Sinos are only on Black Ops and Recon ships, and it can't fit an industrial Sino either.
No. And here you can see basically everything that would go into it. As of right now, anything of this could change between now and the expansion itself. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, and for the cost of the Avalanche, the blueprint is 2 billion ISK.
Okay.
Which is the same as the other racial freighters. And the cost to build is roughly the same as another freighter as well. So it won't be like significantly more expensive than like a Sharon or the Obelisk. Or...
Before we jump this gate, let's actually talk about... there's one thing here, because we have auto-target missiles loaded, but there is another thing here. What are these?
Yeah, so that's a Legion Mjolnir auto-targeting heavy missile. So we actually have faction auto-targeting missiles in the game, but they are very expensive because they don't actually drop from like any NPC in the game. No. They also are not in any LP store in the game.
So they're unobtainable.
Yes, the ones that are on Tiki right now that cost 4 million ISK and Jitter, they came from like a dev that accidentally put them in on a dev roam and got killed like 6 years ago. Yeah, so they're super rare. But for the expansion, since there are no like obtainable faction auto targeting missiles, we renamed all of the existing faction ones to Legion instead of like the Navy.
The Mordu Legion tie-in. I like it.
Yeah, and they'll be in the Mordu's Legion loyalty point store in Equinox, and they'll cost about the same as like the same type of missile they have. So like a Mordu's Legion like auto targeting cruise missile is about the same as like a Cardine Navy.
Okay, they'll follow that same kind of pricing. If we look at the damage difference between these, because they don't apply better, they apply exactly the same. They just have a higher amount of damage. Is that right? We currently have 1360 DPS. If we overheat here, this is a pretty chunky amount of damage. Obviously, this is with auto targeting missiles. I can't really choose what it's hitting. It's hitting things that are first aggressing you, right? That's how auto targeting missiles work.
So auto targeting missiles, you always go for whoever is the closest aggressing thing to you.
Yeah.
And so people who like the Avalanche has insane like on paper DPS, but really smart players can deliberately like manually pilot and
Yes,
And
they
fly
could
it,
kind of jump in and out of the range.
yeah. So like if me and you were maybe killing CCP Convict in his Avalanche, you know, like I could be at the front and his missiles would be hitting me, and then
Yeah.
as soon as I get low, I could pull away and go like, Bjorn, you be the closest person to him, and then the missiles would switch over to you,
Let's
and
think-
that way we could like I could maybe reload my Ansel, and then when you're low, like, I
Yeah,
come
you can
back
kind of
in.
juggle
Yeah.
the damage that's
Yeah.
coming in. Let's jump through this gate, and obviously since we're just gating a freighter around, nothing bad could possibly happen, right? Let's see if oh no, would you look at that? The whole community team which is waiting here to shoot us in oracles. Who would have thought? Let's see if they are able to crack this thing.
I'm sure they're just there to web you into warp.
Yeah, obviously. That's why they put up a bubble and stuff too, right? Let's actually showcase two things here. We wanted to showcase the fact that you can reload. Obviously, they're all doing EM and thermal damage because they're all oracles. And let's also see what it looks like without me locking anything to just show, clicking just the missiles. They're just going to start shooting on their own, whatever target is closest aggressing us. We're going to decloak here first of all. They're going to all lock us up if they're awake and at the computers. And they're going to start shooting us. We're going to turn on just one hardener. And we're going to see our damage get pumped in here a little bit. We're going to go ahead and load the EM resist into the flex hardener. And our incoming damage is going to go drop significantly here. So they're going to hit us for about 300-400 instead of the much harder hits that we're doing before. And then we just click one button. And our missiles should go and start shooting whatever is closest. Looks like they're going over there to Mr. Swift, who seems to be orbiting the closest. Now, if you're getting ganked in high sec, something like this is pretty nice. Where you don't have to lock the things. You just click a button. Let's say, I don't know, 15 catalysts or something on top of you. Oh, one down. What's we shooting next? And it just does it. It just keeps shooting. It's shooting the next target here. We're going to lock up the rest to see what they all look. Because you don't have to lock them to shoot. And it's doing a chunky amount of damage. We're still using the Tech 1 version. We're not using the Legion ones. It looks like we're over on Mr. Jotun. He is down. So this thing has got quite a bit of bite back. I like it. I like it a lot. But you can't only just fit this. What other missiles can you fit to this ship?
So you could fit any type of missiles that you want to fit. Probably the best types to fit would probably be like rapid lights.
Yeah.
With auto targeting missiles maybe, because then that'll be like really good to killing like
Small
a
missiles.
stiletto or a saber that like
Yeah.
catches you. You could also fit cruise missiles because they have auto targeting missiles, and that does like the best like consistent DPS. So you have rapid heavies right now, which have
Yeah.
the highest like burst DPS with, especially with auto targeting missiles. But you can also fit torpedo launchers on them too. You could also fit like heavy missiles as well if you wanted to like apply it like slightly better to cruisers, although rapid heavies are probably better than like
A lot of
Yeah.
front-loaded damage sitting in there.
yeah.
You can also have Newtonized slots. You can fit any of those things. Smart bombs, technically.
Yeah, you could fit smart bombs, you could fit like a heavy neutralizer.
We are now sitting here at lower and lower shield, but we have reloaded yet again. And I think with that, we're going to shoot Banquet and Zealous. Let me see. Missiles are out, heading over to whoever is on that side. And these things hit pretty damn hard. And obviously, this is like a nice scenario where we're being shot with EM, so I could load the right thing in the flex hardener. Looks like he's down, and the missiles are going to be shooting over to the last target, which I think might have been GM Banquet. I like this ship. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to get something like this that can, with the right, I guess, preparation, if you have the flex hardener fit and you see and you notice, hey, these things are probably going to come and gank me. Because often people do that in the same ship. They all have like a gang of the similar type ganking ships. If you could just reload the right resists, then maybe you have a chance of surviving. Obviously, if it was 15 oracles, I probably would have just died. All right, do you think we've forgotten anything about this?
Yeah, we could maybe talk a little bit about the how you get the Tech 2 haulers, the Torrent and the Deluge, because I don't
Yes.
think we really covered that too much.
I don't think we covered that. That's right. you, I believe, would have to invent it from the Squall blueprint. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So you'd have to take the Squall blueprint and run a copy job on it, and then run an invention job on the Squall blueprint. But it will require a new skill to do that. The Upwell ship encryption methods.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. Upwell Starship Engineering, something like that. Which the skill book for that you'll have to buy from the Factional Warfare Militia LP stores.
Okay.
You can't actually buy it from the character sheet. You have to buy it from the Militia LP stores or buy it from someone who has Factional Warfare LP.
Yeah.
And that's also true for the data cores as well.
Okay.
They're exclusive to Factional Warfare LP stores.
Gotcha.
Eligible things for the infrastructure bay.
But yes, what can you put into the infrastructure bay of this and any of these ships?
Yeah, so
Because you said this has a massive infrastructure bay. If we open that again for a second, an infrastructure bay of 3 million. What can actually go in here?
yeah, so you can put in any Upwell structure. So, for example, a Keepstar, Tatara. You can put in any module that goes onto an Upwell structure. So, like a Upwell bomb launcher, stand-up cloning service. You can put structure rigs inside it.
I'm assuming you can also put in all the new things. If you need to put up a new sovereignty hub, if you need to put up sky hooks and everything, the new Metanox moon drill. It basically it can hold all the things you would need to set up and maintain your space. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. Or even just like I mentioned, like the regular Upwell structures too.
Yeah.
It can also fit, like as we mentioned, PI materials.
Yeah.
So the avalanche could be really good if you have like a lot of PI. Maybe a lot of people in your corp are doing PI, and you want to just move a bunch of water all at once to
Yes.
like somewhere. Then you can do that. It can also carry moon materials as well. The
Okay.
Metanox moon drill generates raw moon materials, and so you can actually put those in the bay too. It can't carry regular minerals, but it can carry like technetium and
Yeah.
cobalt and that kind of stuff.
I like it. I think for the most part we've covered it. So yeah, these are all coming on June 11th with the Equinox expansion. We're gonna slow boat out of this this bubble here and then try and make it to safety, having just about survived this heinous gank from the community team. How dare they? I'll feed them next time we're on Live to Feed, which you need to join sometime soon, maybe after the expansion is out. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the kind of deeper look into the ships themselves. If you missed any of the stuff last week, we went over the new sky hooks, the whole system that's coming to nullsec sovereignty space, and how that's going to affect the wider EV ecosystem, really. This time we decided to go over the ships themselves. Next week we're going to be maybe looking at some Skinner tool stuff. Mr. Castro, thank you so much for taking the time to come talk to us, to have a deeper, in-depth look at the design philosophy behind these, what we're hoping to see players use them for, and the potential fits and what you think people will use them. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on here.
Thank you all for tuning in as well. And I think tomorrow we're going to do another Live to Feed, and then next week more streams. Have an awesome rest of the day. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.